Morning all. Stood in this beautiful wooded area in October, and I'm just considering and contemplating the word outdoor education and how almost like separate it is from an education. It's almost like it's a whole separate thing that we talk about: outdoor education, and that's kind of, the more I think about it, the more ironic and strange I feel that is. You know, what do we class as outdoor education? Is outdoor education taking groups of children and experience activities in the outdoors like climbing, let's say, or surfing, or coast steering, or orienteering, nature trails? Is that just outdoor education, or is it more? You know, we have forest schools. Children have these classrooms immersed in forests, in woodland areas, and they learn lovely techniques like foraging and how to build fires, you know, coming together, talking about their experiences that they've just had within the forest school environment. Is that outdoor education? I don't know, it's so separate, it's so bitty. It's like, here is normal education and we'll do bits of outdoor education, and it's got to be seamless. It has to be all the same thing. Outdoor education is absolutely education. It's not a separate thing. You know, just me personally, I actually think outdoor education is more. It's more in depth than that. You know, the ironic thing for me is that education started outdoors. You know, you picture all these groups of these thinkers, you know, hundreds, thousands of years ago, who were just looking at nature and couldn't understand why there were certain shapes being replicated. And that was maths. You know, the birth of maths came from nature. And then these amazing literacy arts, books and writings and paintings that were done, well, that's because someone was sat in an environment that was so stimulating, it helped them produce a beautiful piece of artwork or a beautiful piece of writing. But still, we're asking children to produce beautiful pieces of writing sometimes within a false environment. We're trying to make them think about these things instead of immersing them in it and get them to understand where these things were born. You know, it was in nature. You know, and then the irony is, again, is that we wanted to educate ourselves more and more. We wanted to pull ourselves out of the darkness, you know, to give ourselves this knowledge and learn about it and share our facts through language. So we built these buildings that we could go in meeting and share and teach children. And these buildings were built because we couldn't be outside all the time because of the weather, and it was stormy, it was raining, but we still wanted to educate the children. And then all of a sudden it's gone the other way. You know, we want to keep the children in all the time and only take them out a few times to have these experiential, educational experiences outside. Has to change. If we're looking at producing custodians of the environment for the future, it has to change. You know, how can we ensure that in the next 2 generations that these children growing up will look after the environment when they're losing a beautiful relationship with it? How can you care about something when you haven't got a really strong bond in relationship with it? We're talking about something called now. I can't even believe I'm going to say this. You know, the World Health Organization, National Institute of Clinical Excellence, have recognised a disorder, nature deficit disorder. Listen to what I'm saying. Nature deficit disorder. Children feeling so undetached from nature, they can't or won't interact with it, or are unable to. Lack of confidence. They want to stay inside a structure. They don't want to interact with the outside world because they have no relationship with it. Nature deficit disorder. How has that happened? How has that happened, and why are we allowing it? All I'm saying is, when I say what is outdoor education, can we stop separating it from education? It's part of it. But also this, you know, let's please enable the children to physically have a relationship If we're going to do outdoor education, get them outside and physically let them understand how to interact with it. Use it properly to teach maths, literacy, arts. Please don't just take a lesson that you could have done in a classroom and just sit them outside and write in their books or on the whiteboards. That's not outdoor education. That's taking your session, your lesson, just outside and doing it outside. I'm talking about fully immersing them in the environment, using this, wherever you are. It's ironic that I'm stood in a woodland area. Could be stood on the beach, could be stood in the moorland, I could be just stood in the school grounds, but it's just, please, the only way we're going to help, if we're looking at seriously trying to save our environment of this planet, it's the next 2 generations, 3 generations probably. They're the ones that are going to go, stop, not doing this to our world anymore. This is ours. But how can they do that when they don't have a relationship with it? They've got to love it to want to save it. Oh, I know I'm waffling, but I just, for me personally, I just want outdoor education to just be education. Don't know, what's your thoughts? I'll leave it at that.